Luo Feng looked at the Wugu Ancestor coldly. Still not giving up? Still want to fight? After all, the Wugu Ancestor is a being comparable to the Cultivator Lord, naturally insightful. His domain and physical body were effortlessly severed. Over 300 world envoys were cleaved with a single stroke. This terrifying might, the Wugu Ancestor was well aware of its implications. I really didn't expect that the Cultivator camp would have a Starlight Lord, and then you, Lord Luo Feng. The Wugu Ancestor snorted coldly and then immediately plunged into time and space, heading to a higher layer of the abyss of destruction. The Ice Peak camp's territory. Ice Mountain Master. A manifestation of the Wugu Ancestor descended, immediately seeking the Ice Peak Ancestor. A towering ice mountain figure opened its eyes, composed entirely of deep blue ice, naturally emitting an endless chill, making it impossible for low-level primordial and high-level primordial beings to survive over the surrounding vast area. Wugu. The Ice Peak Ancestor looked at the Wugu Ancestor. Do you have something to say? Ranked among the top 3 in the Ice Peak camp, respectively are Sha Zhou, Ice Mountain and Puching. But, Puching Ancestor, is the most disobedient among the 12 undying and undying. Although the Wugu Ancestor is somewhat greedy, it is at least more obedient, so the Ice Peak Ancestor values the Wugu Ancestor. Ice Mountain Master, I encountered Luo Feng in the abyss of destruction. Wugu solemnly said, I went all out, but the result was my body being severed in one stroke, and the control of the 8th layer destruction world was also taken away. The Ice Peak Ancestor was shocked. Impossible. Before engaging, I wouldn't have believed it either. The Wugu Ancestor said while waving his hand, showing the previous battle scene in midair beside him. Since battles often occur in the abyss of destruction, the various forces can't keep an eye on it all the time. The confrontation between the Wugu Ancestor and Luo Feng happened too quickly, and no one noticed. When I fought with Luo Feng, no other powerhouse was paying attention to the destruction world in this layer at that time. The Wugu Ancestor said in a deep voice, this battle remains a secret for now. Even if one tries to observe the past, generally, the confrontation at this level is invisible. Observing the past can reveal battles at the Ancestor and Lord level, yet in the entire endless primordial space, only a handful can achieve this. As for observing the future? The past is set, but the future holds countless possibilities. Walking on different future timelines can confuse many strong beings. It's far more difficult than observing the past. Could this Luo Feng really be so strong? The Ice Peak Ancestor commented after watching the entire battle scene, though your physical body isn't particularly strong among the ancestors, it's considered upper medium, with a strong domain as well, and even with the power of destruction world to boost you, you didn't block a single move. This destructive power has surpassed Mo Man Jin and Ming Huang from the Cultivator camp. The Wugu Ancestor nodded as he had engaged with Mo Man Jin Ming Huang, among others due to some struggles over the destruction world. This Luo Feng is certainly much stronger than Jin Mo Man and the others. Simply relying on the power of breaking is naturally far inferior to Jin and the others. Yet, when the primordial life and death Tao is combined with the power of breaking, some of Luo Feng's killing moves can instantly unleash 1/10 of the energy reserve. This is much more substantial than the energy burned by Jin Mo Man and Ming Huang when they burned their main battle avatar. Luo Feng's blade naturally severed the Wugu Ancestor's body with ease. Though Yuan is powerful, his expertise lies in formation, he can't achieve what Luo Feng has. This destructive power directly targets Starlight and Sha Zhou. It's already considered the highest tier of the Infinite Primordial Space. After watching the complete battle scene, Ice Peak Ancestor made his judgment, but his mood wasn't good. The Cultivator camp, which once depended on him, has already become quite disobedient, and now that Luo Feng's strength has increased once again, the Cultivator camp will only become more dominant. The Wugu asked, Ice Mountain Master, how should we respond? Endless just broke through and now Luo Feng breaks through. The Ice Peak Ancestor indeed felt somewhat exhausted. After the Infinite Ancestor breakthrough, he became undying, rivaling the Ice Peak Ancestor in strength. Moreover, the innate primordial camp is originally the strongest faction, and now it's even stronger. The rising star in the Cultivator camp, Luo Feng, is advancing close to the level of Starlight and Sha Zhou. As the leader of the 3 camps, Ice Peak camp, how could the Ice Peak Ancestor not feel exhausted? Within his own camp, Puching is disobedient, and the 3 monarchs of Feng Lacey are always stirring up trouble. Don't worry, the strongest conflict with the Cultivator camp is with the innate primordial camp. The innate primordial camp owns half of the ancestors in the entire endless primordial space. Their hunger for resources, their thirst for the source world origin, makes them destined mortal enemies. The Ice Peak Ancestor opened his mouth, let them fight first. The harder they fight, the greater the hatred and the harder it is to reconcile. The Wugu nodded. The number of ancestors in the Ice Peak camp is far less than half compared to the innate primordial camp. Now this Luo Feng has only been a lord for how long? The Ice Peak Ancestor sighed, our Ice Peak camp hasn't had a strong force appearing for a long time. This Luo Feng is indeed somewhat terrifying. The Wugu Ancestor was quite proud. Yet Luo Feng's growth rate still startled the Wugu. Indeed, now he is directly challenging Starlight and Sha Zhou. What about the future? The Ice Peak Ancestor felt as if the Cultivator camp was about to surpass their Ice Peak camp, and that Ice Peak camp had no way to deal with it, a sense of powerlessness. The 8th layer of the abyss of destruction. shadow of origin, indeed peculiar. Luo Feng quickly left his mark on the shadow of origin. Now that the Wugu ancestor had departed, Luo Feng began to carefully study the shadow of origin. Unlike the normal origin of a mysterious land, it's more illusory. No wonder it's called shadow of origin by the ancestors and lords. It's so ethereal, seemingly dependent on the entire abyss of destruction for its existence. Luo Feng vaguely perceived. Even at the 8th level, all the power of the world augmenting me, does it only increase my strength by 20%? Luo Feng tried it out. The power of destruction world augmenting himself was indeed very weak. One must know that within the blood crane territory, my strength can multiply several times. Even at a far distance, the power of the blood crane territory support is still quite helpful. Once I leave this layer of destruction world, the augmentation of the power of destruction world will weaken. Luo Feng was already aware of the information. By that time, there's only one usage. The weakened power of destruction world can be used to augment weapons, enhancing their destructive power. This is also the only suitable usage. The destructive power of weapons varies depending on the strength of the destruction world, generally increasing the weapon's destructive power by 10%. But ancestors and lords, many techniques do not use weapons and therefore have no augmentation. Luo Feng thought, for instance, some domain techniques or long-distance techniques are not suitable for weapon execution, rendering the power of destruction world unhelpful. So compared to mastering a mysterious land, mastering a layer of destruction world is relatively weak assistance. However, no matter what, being able to enhance a weapon's power by about 10% is still significant to an ancestor or a lord. After all, at their level, enhancing one's strength is extremely difficult. Luo Feng, having just broken through with break laws with force, is still in a period of rapid growth. If in the future he truly comprehends the primordial blade path, Luo Feng, like other ancestors and lords, will face the same situation where even a small step of improvement is extremely difficult. Attack me. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the 8th layer of the abyss of destruction, and with a single thought, 550 world envoys formed, each madly attacking. The highest level power of destruction on this 8th layer can be called power of extinction, with destruction occupying 80% and the world occupying 20%. Luo Feng calmly sensed, this abyss of destruction, each layer contains different powers of destruction. It is said that on deeper layers, there are powers of destruction where 3 Daos are fused. According to the intelligence he understood, the power of destruction beyond the 20th layer is all a fusion of 3 Daos. For instance, on the 26th layer where the Starlight Lord resides, called the Black Fire Tribulation Power, destruction accounts for 80%, the Fire Path for 10% and darkness for 10%. This layer of the world has only 50 world envoys, though they can only borrow a portion of the Black Fire Tribulation Power, their joint efforts are enough to pressure the Starlight Lord. As the abyss of destruction continually deepens, the more Daos are fused. Does this mean the more Daos fused, the stronger one becomes? Luo Feng thought. Based on the experience of ancestors and lords. Ancestors who master the highest level power, the more they master, the more perfectly combined, the stronger they become. Especially refining and mastering a mysterious land, there's a very high requirement on the quantity of the highest level power mastered. The blood crane territory contains 3 types of highest level power, those containing 4 types, 5 types, or even more highest level powers. The threshold for refining is imaginable. All ancestors, the different highest level powers an individual can master, are currently at most just 2 types. Cultivator lords mastering primordial level Dao are also at most 2 types currently. Everyone knows that more Daos, more types of the highest level power will certainly enhance strength. But the further along, the difficulty rises sharply. Root yourself in the path under your feet, and continue walking your own way. Luo Feng felt the assault from 550 world envoys, studying the various mysteries of this power of destruction, increasing his own accumulation. While Luo Feng was cultivating, chaos was erupting on the previous layers of the abyss of destruction. The Wugu Ancestor first contended with Wulan of the 7th layer, but Wulan with his world envoys assisting easily blocked him. Then he clashed with Xiao Saiwei of the 6th layer, who was also from the Ice Peak camp. Wugu Ancestor and Xiao Saiwei already had a poor relationship. This time he attacked forcefully without any concern for face, but was still blocked by Xiao Saiwei. Ultimately, Wugu Ancestor succeeded in seizing control of the 5th layer from the Lotus Prison Mountain Master. The Lotus Prison Mountain Master excelled in defense, but Wugu Ancestor's domain could restrain the Lotus Prison Mountain Master, simultaneously dealing with the world envoys, ultimately securing control over the 5th layer. The Lotus Prison Mountain Master, having lost the Destruction World, could only go to fight for other Destruction Worlds, clashing again with the Infinite Fire Ancestor on the 4th layer. Finally, no layer among the first few was stable, each was forced to engage in battle. After more than one epoch on the 8th layer, Luo Feng moved to the 9th layer of the Abyss of Destruction. On this layer, 3 gorgeously dressed female figures simultaneously looked at Luo Feng. Among these 3 women, one was petite and adorable, one tall and aloof, and one had an expressionless, serene gaze. Lord Luo Feng, the 3 women looked at Luo Feng. Ancestor Luo. Luo Feng greeted courteously. Ancestor Luo was born with 3 bodies, sharing a single life core that could transfer between the 3 bodies at any time. Her current strength ranks in the top 20 of the endless primordial space. Yet because of her 3-body form, she has yet to achieve undying and undying. Nevertheless, due to the three-body form, completely killing her is extremely difficult. She is quite aloof, seldom involving herself in disputes, nor joining any camp. Not long ago, the 9th layer of the Abyss of Destruction was Lord Nigu. However, with the Infinite Ancestor seizing control of the 18th layer from Kafu, a chaotic battle erupted from the 9th to the 18th layer, changing the occupants. Counting the chaos resulting from Luo Feng's seizing of the 8th layer from Wugu Ancestor, strictly speaking, battles occurred across the first 18 layers with significant changes in occupants. Lord Luo Feng has traveled from the first layer all the way here, staying for more than one epoch on each layer. Is it for cultivation? Ancestor Luiyue inquired courteously. As long as one does not provoke her, she is amicable to any faction. Provoking her naturally leads to fierce retaliation. Yes, I also hope for Ancestor Luiyue's assistance in organizing all the world envoys to attack me, Luo Feng requested. A trivial matter. Ancestor Luiyue happily nodded. Commanding the world envoys is merely a matter of thought, requiring no resource expenditure, so she gladly took the opportunity to make a friendly connection with Lord Luo Feng. Soon, 500 world envoys besieged Luo Feng, and he continued to experience the new power of destruction. More than one epoch passed. Luo Feng bid farewell to Ancestor Luiyue and proceeded to the next layer. Being able to fight through layer by layer, staying at least an epoch on each, Lord Luo Feng surely has some formidable techniques for one-on-one combat. Ancestor Luiyue realized, for not every layer yielded to Luo Feng. Sometimes strength was necessary. Ancestor Luiyue also began to follow Luo Feng's subsequent journey with interest. Beyond the 10th layer, the difficulty escalates significantly compared to below 10 layers. Further down, it's soon the level of the Infinite Ancestor, Yuan, Ice Mountain Master, Infinite Snake Ancestor, and beyond that are Starlight, Sha Zhou, and further still, the unsolved destruction world. I wonder how far Lord Luo Feng will eventually go. Ancestor Luiyue looked on from afar. The 10th layer of the Abyss of Destruction, where Lord Nigu currently resides. Lord Nigu, with his deep blue skin, looked up and smiled as Luo Feng descended. Luo Feng, I've been waiting for you. Nigu, you've reached the 10th layer? Luo Feng replied casually, as moving down layer by layer in the Abyss of Destruction to come into contact with various powers of destruction was relatively easy for the lords occupying those layers. All thanks to that Infinite Ancestor who seized the 18th layer from Kafu, causing chaos, which naturally allowed us to advance somewhat, Lord Nigu remarked. The Abyss of Destruction rarely sees such changes. Luo Feng agreed. The occupiers have the help of the world envoy, so unless someone as powerful as Luo Feng or the Infinite Ancestor comes, the positions won't change easily. I sensed the Abyss of Destruction carefully. Has Mogus disappeared? Luo Feng inquired. Kafu, having lost the 18th layer, went to bully the severely weakened Mogus. Mogus, hunted by Starlight, was left with less than 10% of his life forms. Naturally, he couldn't withstand Kafu. A weakened Mogus has no chance to contest any layer for now, Nigu smiled. Luo Feng was pleased to hear this. The entire cultivator camp was hostile towards Mogus, but in reality, across the Infinite Primordial Space, the only real nemesis of Mogus, who excelled in the highest level of soul power, was the Starlight Lord. Other factions generally didn't wish to offend Mogus. Mogus cared not for other resources, only for the souls of the weak. Those factions naturally tolerated him. Moreover, with Mogus being undying and ranking within the top 10, closely rivaling the Infinite Snake Ancestor, the Ice Peak Ancestor, and Yuan, and having no attachments, who would dare provoke him? Even if his power was greatly diminished, few dared to seize his destruction world, fearing his vengeance after recovery. Only the lone Kafu dared to forcibly take from Mogus. Mogus is terrifying, Nigu lamented. He mastered the highest level of soul power. In the past, no ancestors or lords could threaten him. Our cultivator camp faced endless difficulties. In the most harrowing times, his power infiltrated over 1/10 of the source worlds in our camp, devouring countless souls. Luo Feng remained silent, feeling a weight in his heart. No lord could tolerate more than 1/10 of the source world creatures in their camp having their souls devoured. Even the pursuit by Starlight is not easy. He has to scour the entire space-time to find and hunt Mogus, only temporarily weakening him. Mogus will inevitably return, Nigu explained. Luo Feng felt helpless. The power of the highest level of soul power. It can hide within any life form below the ancestor level. What can Luo Feng do? The vastness of the infinite primordial space and the multitude of creatures left him at a loss. If our cultivator camp could produce a lord mastering the soul path, perhaps he could counter Mogus, Nigu mused. It's too difficult. Even now, not a single godly king at the ultimate realm in the soul path has emerged. Luo Feng shook his head, saying that the complete soul path wasn't even contained within the great Tao in the source world origin, with no direct reference available. Historically, there have been 93 fusion Tao cultivators at the half-primordial level, yet not a single godly king at the ultimate realm in the soul path. And the ultimate realm of the soul path is still a long way off from the primordial level soul path. Nigu, I'll need you to arrange for all world envoys to attack me to aid in my cultivation, Luo Feng requested. All right. Nigu immediately commanded the world envoys to assault Luo Feng. Though once a tribulation cultivator like Jin, Nigu was eager to befriend Luo Feng. Because he knew that with Luo Feng's power-breaking technique, he might be his greatest help in obtaining the ancestor bloodline in the future. Whoever could help him obtain the ancestor bloodline, Nigu would draw close to. Jin, however, maintained more pride. One's character could be glimpsed from their path. One embraced the primordial bloodline Dao, aiming to encompass all ancestor bloodlines, while the other pursued the primordial destruction path, with a strong heart of destruction. The 11th layer of the Abyss of Destruction is presided over by Puching Ancestor, the third most powerful in the Ice Peak camp. Puching Ancestor is small in stature yet extremely tenacious. In combat ability, he's not far behind Emo Man Jin and Ming Huang, and with a robust body, his overall strength surpasses them. Among the 12 immortal existences in the Ice Peak camp, Puching Ancestor has the worst relationship with the Ice Peak Ancestor. Lord Luo Feng, my Puching clan has always had good relations with your cultivator camp, and Yuan is my friend. Puching Ancestor greeted Luo Feng courteously. You are welcome to visit our territory anytime. Thank you, Puching Ancestor. Luo Feng also knew that of the 12 beings in the Ice Peak camp, the ones with the best relations with the cultivator camp were Puching Ancestor and Xiao Saiwei, both having deep friendships with Yuan. Xiao Saiwei becoming immortal had ties with Yuan. This debt of gratitude made Xiao Saiwei's relationship with Yuan extraordinary. The good relationship between Puching Ancestor and the cultivator camp primarily stemmed from the significant conflict between the Puching clan and the Ice Peak clan. Being the two most powerful clans within the Ice Peak camp, they fiercely contended for resources. Need the world envoy to attack you? Puching Ancestor chuckled, having observed Luo Feng several times and knowing he'd been assaulted in those destruction worlds for 1 or 2 eras. 1 or 2 eras is enough, it's a bother to you, Luo Feng stated. Puching Ancestor nodded, immediately sending a thought to deploy the world envoys for the assault. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.